Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cabela's, Cuddyback, America's Best Bowstrings, Drake Non-Typical, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, and Realtree.
Day 15, October 31st. Happy Halloween. This is the traditional start of the best hunting of the season. Some people think that Halloween is actually one of the best days of the season for killing big deer. And Josh, one of our employees in the office, killed a nice buck this morning on public land, so maybe they're right. For my hunt this evening, I was planning to hunt the Big 7 up closer to the house, but the wind forecast changed halfway through the day. It was supposed to be west, but now it's north-northwest. And the spot that I wanted to hunt up there, I couldn't have that much north wind in it. So we're gonna come back to the open gate. This is the spot where I shot those 4 does, must have been a little bit more than a week ago now. And it's a good spot. I mean, over the years, it's been a really very, very good spot, but we're gonna have to kill a surprise buck. And I know that's high on our list of priorities, is trying to kill a surprise buck this year, but if it's gonna happen, this would be one of the spots where it would, because this is an area where I had a lot of bucks when I was running camera here, but I didn't run camera for very long. It's on the fringe of the property, so there could be deer that bounce in here that I haven't got pictures of from any place else just because they weren't on my farm. So that's kind of the agenda for this evening. This north-northwest wind works perfect for this spot. There just isn't very much of it. Leaves are barely moving. It's about a 4-mile-an-hour wind, which is not a big deal. It just seems like on still days, we never do as well as what we do on days with a little bit of wind. But heck, all we got to do is half as well as we did last time we were in here, and we'll be dragging some deer. That's the plan. I'll take does again, and hopefully, something pops out on the other end of that little food plot and works its way toward us. It's got some good set of antlers on his head. I'm settled into the stand here, and before the deer start to come out, I want to talk about my setup, about why the stand is located where it is. Obviously there's an open gate down here, and that's the main funnel that the deer flow through as they come from the bedding areas, and then they go out into the little staging area plot, and then they flow through this open gate and out into the bigger ag fields on this side. But there's more to it than that. All the little feeding areas that I set up on, I try to use the same sort of a tree stand placement technique. It's really tempting to want to put your stand where the deer come out of the cover. The deer come out on the other end. So if you look across, you can see, it's just all bedding. Everything back there is just bedding area. That's where they come out of, and then they work their way in this direction. The problem with setting up where they come out is you don't have a safe wind direction. You can't set up with the wind blowing into the timber, obviously, because that's where the deer are at. You can't set up with the wind blowing out away from the timber, because that's where they're going to get to once they get past you. So here, at least, I can set up on a crosswind where the wind is blowing straight from the open gate right down this fence line, or I can even set up with it blowing out into the ag field, because the deer are coming toward me, so I have a safe wind direction. It's a safe wind for my walk in, because I'm walking into the wind the whole way in. It's a safe wind on the stand. It's a perfect setup. Rarely do we get very many deer out into the big ag field before it's time to climb down and get out. You get once in a while, you get a few, but that's not nearly as big of an issue as if you set up right where the deer come out in these little feeding areas. Just a quick tip, and I've used that for years now in all different kinds of situations. And as long as there's some hope that they're going to feed their way to you, you're always better off setting up on the opposite side of where they come out rather than right where they come out. Oh man, it's a lot of nerve. If he turns off, there's two of them. If they turn off, I'll call to him. They came right out of that bedding area, and that's not good. You filming those dogs? Film the dogs. Are you filming it? Yeah. They ran right into the spot where I expected the deer to come out of. That's a huge bedding area back there. So first the coyotes came through there. Then the dogs came along and ran the coyotes back in there again. Here comes another dog. I mean, I'd say we got about zero chance of something coming from that direction tonight. But that's not, gosh, that's not to say that they can't come from someplace else, but that's normally where they come from, back there in the end. The dogs might have kicked him out and he circled. Been a pretty disappointing evening tonight. Having those dogs come through and those coyotes, that definitely didn't help, because they ran in right where I would expect the deer to be bedding and where they should have come out from. But it's also a very still evening. I mean, dead still. And in this area, on this farm or this part of the Midwest or whatever, I've never had good hunts on really still conditions like this. In the evenings, it just seems like the deer stand. They stand back and listen because they can hear so well. I mean, I hear a truck on the road a mile and a half away, and you can hear every little sound. I think they just get overwhelmed, so they just stand in one place and listen, and they don't move. A lot of times you'll see them move a lot right after dark on these super still days, but in any event, if it wouldn't have been for that one forkhorn that got spooked in our direction by something, probably those coyotes or the dogs, we wouldn't have seen a deer yet tonight. Probably about 20 minutes left, thinking of legal shooting time. And so there could still be something that comes out, but my hope is starting to dwindle pretty fast here. We're going to look at the forecast and decide on tomorrow morning. I have some spots that I'm excited about hunting, but I need the right winds for it. And I don't want to just make a feeble effort and educate deer. I want this to work where the first time in is going to be my best chance for success. And you've seen that, I'm sure, many times, and we've seen it over and over and over. The first time you go into a stand, that's your best chance for success out of that stand, because there's no history. You haven't educated any deer there. They haven't smelled your ground scent or seen you coming and going or anything like that. So if you can time that to coincide with when the bucks that you're hunting are most likely to be on their feet, it works out really well. So that's kind of what we're looking at now. I mean, I love to hunt, of course, but I don't want to do it and mess something up. So we may not hunt in the morning. Like I said, I'm going to check this wind forecast and then we'll decide from there. But either way, I'm sure I'll at least be out someplace tomorrow evening. So check back again tomorrow. And hopefully there won't be any dogs or coyotes or anything else messing up my hunt. And we can get back to hunting these rutting whitetails like we're supposed to.